Hello world, hello beautiful people. I haven't been live on my Facebook in forever, or in most things, I suppose. Not Insta, not YouTube, not recently anyway. How does it get any better than that? I had my long distance glasses only and not my intermediate ones, so I was doing this. These are the intermediate, so I can see things both on the phone and on the computer now. Woohoo! Took only a month and a half to get them after I lost my previous ones, but otherwise if I was wearing my long distance, my driving glasses, I'd have to have the little glasses and the tip in the nose like this and do the grandma look. It was very funny. But anyway, made me not want to go on any device and do anything, really, so that I wouldn't do that. And see, that's what I'd like to speak about, how choice creates. There's so many different ways that we could actually create our lives, and we could enjoy ourselves. And instead of doing that, we pretend that we're choiceless. Oh no, I can't do that because I didn't have my glasses, or whatever other reason and justification or excuse. Not have the money, don't have the health, don't have the, I don't know, the kids, you've got to do things with the kids or whatever. But no, it boils down to choice. See, we keep thinking that we keep thinking that's stinker number one, actually, because that's where we keep going to reasons and justifications, where we keep going to logic and cognition. We keep trying to figure out, oh, why should I choose this? Rather than, I wonder, what will my life be like if I choose this? What will the future be like? What will the world be like if I choose whatever it is that delights you and expands you and is joyful for you? And I loved, and I used to do these far more frequently, and I had so much fun doing this. Oh my goodness, I can actually share this to my group. I didn't realize that. It has been a long time since I have done this. Let me see. Space of Possibilities. We do have a little group, Space of Possibilities with Rachel. And you're welcome there, though, like I said, without my glasses that I could use for the computer with ease. It was really funny. Or I'd take the little phone and like stick it right up up my nose practically to be able to see anything. It wasn't as fun. So now that I have these, it makes my life a lot easier. How does it get any better? But that's the thing. Choice creates. And we don't recognize so often where we stick ourselves with different points of views, with different ways of looking at the world. Things that seem so, wow, so genuine, so quote-unquote real. We think that they are it. I mean, this is reality. You can't argue with this. These are the givens. That's what in Access right now we're calling presumptive reality. But it's basically the material we've given ourselves from which to create our world. Now, the thing is, we could have infinite possibilities. We could choose all sorts of things from which to be able to create our experience, to be able to create, you might hear the kids upstairs. If you hear shouting, you hear traffic, you hear whatever, I'm in the US on the balcony, and yes, it is rather dynamically active out here. So how does it get any better? But that's the thing. When we take these presumptive points of views, when we have these assumptions about the way life works, about what we can and cannot do, what we can and cannot choose, or anything else about us, we don't even notice them. They're so insidious, we don't notice, because they seem to us as realistic as I get up, I breathe, whatever it is. We don't think to question any of those presumptive realities. And the really interesting thing is, if you limit your vault, your box of infinite possibilities, which would be more than a box anyway, but if you choose to limit that, right, you only have a set number of ingredients from which you can create your life, a set number of choices from which you can create your life, because you're not allowing yourself to see or to perceive or to receive all of the magic that's available to you, because somehow that part has been eliminated. That part has been defined as unrealistic. That part works for other people, but it doesn't work for you. That part, oh no, that just never works. That I can't do that. That's just not me. I've caught myself so often, and this conversation of presumptive realities came up in January at the 6-day class in Africa, and I've been on different programs with Dr. Dane where that's been woven into different classes. And then at the certified facilitator class in Australia, Gary began to speak about something called the needs of reactive realities, which is really funny because I have a specialty class which I haven't facilitated in years, called Life is How You Choose to See It. Are you creative? You put the C in the front. You're the chooser, the changer, the creator of your life. Or are you reactive? You let everybody else choose first. You let everybody else set the standards. And you put yourself last in line. And that's what happens with these reactive realities. We're not actually being present. We're not actually noticing that this is what we're choosing. We don't do any of that. We just assume that this is the way it is. And if this is the way it is, then, well, no, I can't do that. That doesn't work for me because this is what it is. Well, what if it isn't? Who's decided that it is what it is? What if it doesn't have to be like that? So it is our points of view, as ingrained, as almost invisible to the naked eye, that we can shift, that we can change. And in Access Consciousness, we have so many different ways and tools and just concepts. And it's not even about the ways and the tools. It's just this space of allowance, of not buying everything at face value and going, well, what is this really? What else is possible here? Interesting point of view that I have this point of view, whatever that point of view is that's sticking you. If I didn't have that point of view, if I know not this, then what else would be possible? Then what could I see? Then what could I notice? Then what could I create? Then what would be available? And what would the world be like if I were willing to embrace all of those possibilities? Because we are not at the effect of the world. The world's actually being created from our perspective, from the inside out. We're the ones that are forming the world, basically, out of our way of looking at it, out of our way of our involvement with it, our engagement with it. And we do everything in life according to the filters of our points of view. And it's been fascinating. For the last 2 weeks, I've been going to my daughter's high school each day, weekdays, right? Not weekends. I've been going out there and running the bars, which are a phenomenal process. If you've not ever experienced it, they're just a gentle touch to certain points in the head. And when you activate these bars, you're able to release, but in a non-cognitive way. Ooh, it's drizzling. You're able to release thoughts, feelings, emotions, points of view, things that don't function for you. And you don't have to worry so much. You don't have to figure any of them out. You just have to allow. And with the presumptive realities, when we let go of even just asking, okay, so all the presumptive realities and the needs of reactive realities that I have around my financial situation, around my relationships, around my body, for example, around being with my children, around the tests at school, I destroy and uncreate all of those times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all nine, shorts, boys, povads, and beyonds. And that's the clearing statement. If you're not familiar with it, go to theclearingstatement.com and you'll get a gorgeous explanation. But what's really cool about the bars, and what's really interesting in observing these kids coming up, I have my chair there, and the teachers have all mostly had their bars run as well, and they've suggested to the kids, hey, look, this is very relaxing. This is something that can create a space of something different to get you out of where you've presumed life has to be and open a different doorway to a different possibility, which I don't do with them with clearings. I just stay quiet. I just be the space of allowance, and I activate these bar points. And it's interesting to see the difference between some people who are willing to choose, and willing is a key word. is when are we allowing ourselves to have a different possibility, and when are we not willing? Right? That willingness creates such a different space, because we are willing to get out of what we have defined as true and real and unchangeable, which is the presumptive realities. Anytime we're willing, we open up a little space. And an open parachute can actually function a whole lot better than one that's closed and shut down. But we don't even realize that it's shut down with the presumptive realities. We don't realize where we're sticking ourselves. And so it's really nice to be able to notice that this actually exists, that there are things that we call givens. There are these underlying assumptions. And I've been reading in between kids on my chair there in the high school, I've been reading this How to Become Money workbook. And it's really funny. I got a new English version because my old spiral one was starting to fall apart, how beloved it is. And I began, underlining and highlighting and taking notes in the book. And it's as if I've never read this book before. And if you are, on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook, or whatever, I'm a lover of this book. This is one of my favorite books on the planet. It is actually the original foundation of Access Consciousness. And there's so much in it. And I'm reading it. I told my daughter, as I'm looking at this book in the high school commons there, I'm like, have I read this book before? I don't remember this, and I don't remember that. And there's so much in the book, for example, about acknowledgement, and I never noticed it. Fell on deaf ears. It was part of my presumptive reality, I guess, to not acknowledge myself. And so suddenly I'm reading through and I'm noticing how many times Raz, who's the being that Gary was channeling, Raz is calling us to actually begin to acknowledge, to celebrate our choices, and to recognize that we are grand and glorious creators of whatever it is that we've created in our lives. So what would we like to choose, and what would we like to create that we haven't even allowed ourselves to begin imagining? That if we would allow ourselves to begin imagining, would change our experience of living. It would change our experience of the world. It would change everything. And it was really funny because in class, something's squeaking over there. In class, we just had the Global Foundation class. My daughter's name was mentioned, and my daughter's name was mentioned as being a very magical kid, and she really is. If I get stuck in anything, any point of view, anything, she tends to ask a question that pushes me out of it. She'll facilitate the bajinkies out of me, and I might do that for her sometimes too. We all get stuck sometimes, and we don't notice, the splinter that it's in our own eye, so to speak. We can see it in somebody else. But the really cool thing is that she's inspired me to look beyond what's supposed to be reasonable, what's supposed to be possible, and expanded my horizons into such a degree of uncomfort. And by uncomfort, I mean it's a stretch, right? But being willing to stretch, being in totally different places, exploring things that I've never explored before. Even, fun arts and crafts that have been amazing, like ceramics and intuitive weaving and macrame. And I made a cool macrame pillow. So anyway, it's been really interesting. When you let go of what you've defined that you can't, I caught myself. I was at the sink preparing a snack for the kids that came back after school to work on a project, and I thought, no, that's not really something that I like because I'm kind of shy. And I thought, well, that's an interesting point of view. I'm not really shy. I just think I'm shy. I just have this point of view that I'm shy, or I have a point of view that I don't like this. But really? I don't like this? It's an interesting point of view. I have this point of view. What else would be possible if I didn't hold on to that point of view? What else would be possible if I would allow myself to explore further than I ever did before? And what would be different in your world if you allowed yourself to explore further than you did before? If you didn't buy any story about yourself as true and real, if you didn't agree to that, whatever that presumed reality is as a, this is it. It's a solidity, yes. You've aligned and agreed, or you've resisted and reacted with yourself or somebody else to create that as a point of view. I know, John, I know me shy. Yes, actually, yes. How's it get any better? That's so funny. But yeah, I kind of stuck myself in the, no, I'm kind of shy and retiring, a little bit on the introverted side. But then I notice I don't have much fun when I do that. And I don't have so much fun when I'm pretending to be more limited than I really am. I'm a lot more of a potent mofo than I've ever acknowledged, or that I would say in public to most people, other than, my husband, my kids, and some close friends. But I actually am. And it's so cool, when we stop denying the gift that we be, when we stop trying to hold on to these presumed realities, when we stop trying to buy all of this limitation and all of these different points of view about ourselves or about the world, when we stop buying it, we can just kind of let that load off. And we can fly free, unfettered, you could say, by all of those things. As they're not our reality. It's the fight to maintain somebody else's reality that keeps us weighed down. Who would we be without that? I've seen the difference in some of the kids that come to my chair at the school, that the ones that try to be like the really cool, the really suave kids. And I've seen the kids who are willing to just get on that chair and melt and allow themselves to receive. And they get up and there's a different look about them. There's a different look to their face. There's a different look to their energy. There's a different energy there, really, because this is an energetic choice, right? Whether it's to receive bars or to receive a question about something, it's a choice. And it's a choice that takes you out of the presumption and into a possibility, out of reaction and into creation. And that's a choice that you have at every moment. And whenever I see that meltingness, or whenever I notice that there's more space, I know something different is possible. I may not know exactly how I've contributed, exactly how I've changed. I can't tell the person what it is that's going to be different about their life, but I do know something's going to be different. And if we're open, if we're willing to have the difference, that space, that, something else is available there, ooh, baby, it gets to be a fun ride. A very adventurous ride. But on a full tank gas. I had an adventurous ride with very little left in the battery, and I'm in California. This is one of those electric cars. Yeah, that wasn't fun, but hey, we can make anything into fun if we're willing. So I wonder where you're not allowing yourself to have choice. Where am I not allowing myself to have choice? Just because I've assumed. And you know the word assume? I love this one. My ex-sister-in-law's mother told me this when I was like 15. She said, if you write out the word assume, you get an ass out of you and me. So how often do we make asses out of ourselves by assuming certain things about the world, about us, about other people? What if we'd actually be willing to be so fresh, so innocent, so present, that we don't have those underlying assumptions, we don't make an ass out of anybody, nor ourselves, and we can actually relish the experience that's totally new with someone who was never who they are right now 10 seconds ago, or whenever some other time we've had an interaction with them. And every time they show up, they're a whole new being, a whole new person. They're inviting you to be present, inviting themselves to be present if they're willing, and showing up in a completely fresh way. I love that. I love that about being present, about choosing every 10 seconds. These are all, wonderful things from the First Foundation, the How to Become Money Workbook, which actually made me choose today. I haven't set it up yet, but I'd like to go for 3 months of deep delving into this book. And if you'd like to do that with me, you're certainly invited, because this really shakes the solidity of anything you've decided is true and real, and mix that with everything that's coming out in excess about, looking at your presumptions and your needs of reactive realities. And when you let that go, you find the space of being, the space of possibilities, and the magic and the miracle that's called you. Yeah, you. And you might not have known that about yourself yet, but yeah, it's true. So I will post those things when I can. I'm so glad to have these glasses now so I can go live again, like I haven't in a while. So how's it get any better? Thank you for being here, and I look forward to connecting again very soon. Bye-bye.